The rain hammered against the glass corridors of Adelaide Corporation Tower long after midnight. Archie Lambert pushed his janitor's cart down the empty hallway, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. His 7-year-old daughter, Adelaide, sat on a bench near the elevator, swinging her legs and clutching her worn stuffed rabbit. Then 3 men stepped out from the stairwell shadows. They moved with purpose toward the little girl. Adelaide's eyes went wide. "Daddy! Please stop them!" Her scream shattered the silence. Archie turned. Instinct replaced thought. 6 seconds. That's all it took. A pivot, an elbow strike to the first man's throat, a precise punch that dropped the second, a sweeping kick that left the third unconscious on the polished floor. The next morning, a government motorcade appeared outside their crumbling apartment building. Archie Lambert had learned to make himself invisible. At 36, he stood 6'2" with the kind of broad shoulders that came from years of discipline, not gym memberships. His dark brown hair was cut military short, though nobody at Adelaide Corporation knew why. His hands, calloused from pushing mops and carrying trash, bore faint scars that spoke of a different life. Those scars told stories he never shared. He had been part of something once. A counter-terrorism unit so classified it had no official name. They called it retrieval operations, a sanitized term for missions where politicians' children were saved from basements in war zones, where hostages were pulled from compounds that didn't exist on any map. Archie had been good at it. Too good. He could read a room in seconds, neutralize threats before they escalated, and carry a wounded civilian 20 miles through hostile territory without rest. Then, Helen happened. Helen with her bright laugh, and her belief that Archie could be more than a weapon. They married quietly. She got pregnant. Archie promised her he'd leave the life behind after one more mission, but Helen never heard that promise fulfilled. Complications during Adelaide's birth took her away. The doctors used words like hemorrhage and cardiac arrest, but Archie only heard one truth. His wife was gone, and he was holding a newborn who needed him more than any mission ever had. So he disappeared. Not from Adelaide, but from the world that knew him as an operator. He became a janitor. The pay was terrible. The hours were long, but it let him stay close to his daughter. He worked nights at Adelaide Corporation Tower, one of those glass monuments to wealth and power that dominated the city's skyline. During the day, he was Adelaide's father. At night, while she slept in the employee lounge or did homework under the glow of vending machines, he cleaned offices where decisions worth millions were made by people who never saw him. Adelaide Lambert was everything her father was not. Where Archie was quiet, she was curious. Where he concealed, she revealed. At 7, she had her mother's blonde hair and her father's gray eyes. She was shy around other children, but fearless with her father. She asked him questions about everything. Why birds flew south, how tall buildings stayed standing, whether stars knew people were watching them. Archie answered what he could and invented answers when he couldn't. She was his whole world, and keeping her safe meant keeping her innocent of the violence he'd left behind. Alexandra Rhodes ran Adelaide Corporation the way generals ran campaigns, with strategy, discipline, and an emotional distance that kept everyone at arm's length. At 33, she was younger than most of the board members who'd tried to undermine her. She wore her authority like armor, always impeccably dressed, her blonde hair styled perfectly, her red V-neck dresses tailored to project power without apology. She walked through her building like she owned it, because she did. But power came with ghosts. When Alexandra was 14, she'd been taken. Her father was a senator, with enemies who knew that the fastest way to break a man was through his children. She'd spent 4 days in darkness, listening to footsteps above her head, wondering if she'd ever see sunlight again. Then, someone came. She never saw his face clearly, just felt strong arms lifting her, heard a calm voice saying, "You're safe now." as he carried her through what felt like miles of forest. By the time the official rescue team arrived, she was already free, and her rescuer was gone. The trauma specialist her father hired said she'd forget in time. She didn't. She remembered the feeling of being helpless, and she'd built her entire life around never feeling that way again. Control became her religion. Trust became a luxury she couldn't afford. And the janitor who worked in her building at night, he was invisible to her. Just another part of the machinery that kept her empire running. Until the night, 3 men came for his daughter. The attack happened in Section 7 of the 42nd floor, near the executive suites. Archie had finished cleaning the conference rooms and was heading toward the service elevator when Adelaide called out that she needed the bathroom. He told her to use the one near the waiting area. She just turned the corner when the stairwell door opened. 3 men. Not security. Not employees. They moved like hunters, and their eyes locked on Adelaide immediately. The little girl froze. They were 20 feet away, now 15, now 10. She could see their faces. Cold, professional, empty of mercy. Her lungs found air. "Daddy, please stop them." Archie Lambert didn't think. Thinking took too long. His body remembered what his mind had tried to forget. He was already moving when the first man reached for Adelaide. The janitor's uniform became irrelevant. The mop cart clattered aside. He closed the distance in 3 strides. The first attacker barely registered Archie's presence before an elbow caught him in the throat. Precise, calculated, the kind of strike that didn't kill but absolutely incapacitated. The man went down gasping. The second attacker threw a punch that would have shattered an ordinary man's jaw. Archie slipped it, redirected the momentum, and drove his fist into the man's solar plexus. The attacker folded. The third man pulled a knife. Big mistake. Archie caught his wrist, twisted until something popped, and swept his legs. The man's head hit the marble floor with a sound that echoed through the empty corridor. 6 seconds. 3 men. Done. Adelaide stood frozen, her blue eyes wide with shock. Then she ran. Not away, but toward her father. She crashed into his arms, and he held her, his heart hammering against his ribs. She was crying, her small body shaking. "It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. Daddy's here." But it wasn't okay. Archie knew these weren't random thugs. Their stance, their coordination, their equipment, these were professionals. Someone had sent them. And worse, someone had sent them to a place where his daughter was. He looked at the security camera blinking red in the corner. Then he looked at the 3 unconscious men. He had maybe 5 minutes before backup arrived, before questions got asked that he couldn't answer. He pulled Adelaide close and moved fast. He knew where the camera blind spots were. He knew which stairwell had a broken lock. By the time security arrived, they'd find 3 confused men with no explanation and no janitor in sight. That night, Archie didn't sleep. He sat in their tiny apartment, watching the street below through torn curtains. Adelaide slept fitfully, crying out twice. Both times he was there, holding her hand, promising her monsters weren't real. But he knew better. Monsters were very real, and they knew where he lived. Morning came with sirens. Not police sirens. Something else. Adelaide was eating cereal at their small kitchen table when Archie heard them, the kind of motorcade that meant government business. He pulled back the curtain. 5 black SUVs with government plates blocked the street. Men in tactical vests were establishing a perimeter, and stepping out of an armored Cadillac in the center of it all was Alexandra Rhodes. She wore a red dress with a V-neck cut, her blonde hair pulled back, her expression unreadable behind designer sunglasses. But her presence here, in this neighborhood where rust stains ran down the sides of buildings and laundry hung on fire escapes, was impossible to miss. Neighbors poured onto their stoops. People pulled out phones. A CEO didn't visit the poor side of town with a government escort unless something seismic was happening. Alexandra walked straight to Archie's building. Two men in dark suits flanked her. She climbed the 4 flights of stairs like she was ascending to a boardroom. When she knocked on Archie's door, the sound was steady and professional. Adelaide looked at her father with questions in her eyes. Archie put a finger to his lips and opened the door. Alexandra stood in the hallway, her heels sinking slightly into carpet that hadn't been replaced since the 80s. Up close, without the distance of corporate hierarchy, Archie could see she was younger than he'd thought. And scared. Trying to hide it, but scared. Mr. Lambert. Her voice was controlled. "We need to talk." Immediately. Archie stepped aside. Adelaide peeked out from behind him, her stuffed rabbit clutched tight. Alexandra's gaze softened for just a moment when she saw the little girl. Then the mask returned. "About last night?" Archie's tone was neutral. Alexandra removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were sharp. "So you admit it was you?" "I admit I protected my daughter from 3 men who had no business being there." Alexandra studied him. Really studied him. She saw the military posture he couldn't fully hide. The way his eyes tracked her security detail outside. The scars on his knuckles. The calm that radiated from someone who'd been in worse situations. "No ordinary janitor drops 3 trained operatives in 6 seconds, Mr. Lambert. No ordinary CEO shows up at a janitor's apartment with government security." They stared at each other. Adelaide pulled on Archie's sleeve. "Daddy, who's the fancy lady?" Alexandra's expression cracked, just slightly. She knelt down to Adelaide's eye level. "I'm Alexandra. I work in the building where your daddy works. He did something very brave last night." "He's always brave," Adelaide said simply. Alexandra stood. "May I sit down?" Archie gestured to their worn couch. Alexandra sat, looking strange and out of place among their thrift store furniture and patched walls. Her security stayed in the hallway. When the door closed, she spoke. "I've been followed for 3 months. Professional surveillance. Someone breached my personal security network. At first, my team thought it was corporate espionage. Then we started finding patterns. The same faces at different events. Cars that appeared too consistently. Last week, my head of security showed me footage of 3 men conducting reconnaissance at Adelaide Corporation. The same 3 men who attacked your daughter last night." Archie felt his blood run cold. "They weren't after Adelaide." "No. They were after me. But I wasn't there. I changed my schedule last minute. Security believes they were trying to grab leverage. Your daughter was in the wrong place. Or the right place," Archie said quietly, "depending on your perspective." Alexandra leaned forward. "Mr. Lambert, whoever sent those men knows you stopped them. They know you're not what you appear to be. My security ran your background. Your employment history only goes back 7 years. Before that, nothing. No college records, no prior addresses, no digital footprint. You're a ghost. I'm a janitor. No, you're someone who became a janitor. There's a difference." She paused. "I need to know what we're dealing with. Are you part of this? Are you a threat to my company?" Adelaide had wandered to the window to watch the motorcade. Archie kept his voice low. "I'm a father trying to raise his daughter in peace. That's all I am now. Whatever I was before doesn't matter. It matters if it puts my company at risk." "Your company?" Archie's tone hardened. 3 men tried to grab my daughter. I don't care about your company. I care about keeping her safe. Then we have common ground." Alexandra pulled out a phone, showed him footage. "These 3. Do you recognize them?" Archie studied the faces. Military training. Private contractor build. Eastern European features on 2 of them. Mercenaries. Well-funded ones. How do you know? I know. Alexandra put the phone away. My head of security thinks this is about me. About something from my past. When I was 14, I was kidnapped. It's not public information. My father paid a fortune to keep it quiet. But whoever's behind this knows. And they're recreating it. Why? I don't know. Revenge against my father? Corporate sabotage? All I know is they're escalating. The 3 men you stopped won't be the last. Archie looked at Adelaide, who was pressing her nose against the window, making fog patterns with her breath. What do you want from me? Protection. For both of us. My security can keep me safe in controlled environments. But you? You saw a threat and neutralized it in seconds. I need someone who can do that if things go wrong. I'm not a bodyguard. No, you're something better. You're someone they won't see coming. Archie stood. I appreciate the offer, Miss Rhodes. But I left that life behind for a reason. I have a daughter who needs a father, not a weapon. Alexandra stood too. Then think about this. If they know about you now, do you really believe they'll leave you alone? You humiliated whoever sent those men. That's not something people like that forgive. The words hung in the air. Archie knew she was right. He'd broken the first rule of staying hidden. Never draw attention. But given the same situation, he'd do it again in a heartbeat. I need time, he said finally. You don't have time. Alexandra moved to the door. My security team has swept this building. You're clean for now. But Mr. Lambert, when they come back, and they will, don't hesitate to call. She handed him a card. That number reaches me directly. Day or night. She left. The motorcade pulled away 15 minutes later. Adelaide turned from the window. Daddy, are we in trouble? Archie pulled her into a hug. No, sweetheart. Everything's going to be fine. But that night, he didn't sleep. He sat at the window with the lights off, watching the street. At 2 in the morning, he heard it. The faint whir of a drone outside their window. Small, expensive, equipped with a camera lens that glinted in the streetlight. Archie moved fast. He grabbed the broom from the kitchen, opened the window in one smooth motion, and threw. The broom handle caught the drone perfectly, sending it spiraling into the alley below. By the time he got downstairs, it was gone. Someone had retrieved it. He texted the number Alexandra had given him. They're watching. Her response came immediately. Pack a bag. My team is en route. No, not yet. Lambert, don't be stupid. Not stupid. Careful. If we run, they'll know they've got us scared. They've got drones on your apartment. You should be scared. Scared and running are different things. There was a long pause. Then, you're insufferable, and you're used to people doing what you say. Fine. But my team is stationed 2 blocks away. If anything happens, they're there in 90 seconds. Noted. Archie went back upstairs, but he didn't sleep. He watched, and he thought about Alexandra's words. About how running from the past never worked. About how some things, once started, had to be finished. The next day, Alexandra showed up at his work. Not the apartment. The tower. She found him on the 37th floor, emptying trash in an executive conference room. She closed the door behind her. No security this time. Just her. I've been thinking about what you said, she began. Archie continued working. Which part? The part about being a father, not a weapon. She paused. I understand that. More than you might think. Archie looked at her. Really looked. Saw past the expensive clothes and the corporate armor. Saw someone who'd been scared at 14 and never quite stopped being scared. "What happened when you were taken?" he asked quietly. Alexandra's composure cracked. She sat in one of the conference chairs. 4 days in a basement. They fed me once a day. Told me my father didn't care enough to pay. That I was going to die there. Her voice was steady, but her hands weren't. Then someone came. Not the police. Not FBI. Someone else. He got me out. Carried me through a forest. I remember his arms felt safe. I remember thinking, if I just held on, I'd be okay. She looked up. I never saw his face. He was gone by the time the official rescue team arrived. Archie stopped working. His throat felt tight. For years, I tried to find him. Alexandra continued. But there were no records. My father said some operations were too classified to trace. That I should be grateful and move on. She laughed bitterly. I never moved on. I built an empire instead. Became powerful enough that no one could take me again. But it didn't work. I'm still that scared 14-year-old in the dark. You're not, Archie said. That girl survived. This woman thrived. Did she? Or did she just build higher walls? Before Archie could answer, his phone rang. Adelaide's school. His daughter was sick. Nothing serious. But could he pick her up? He apologized to Alexandra and left. But her words stayed with him. About walls. About survival. About the difference between the two. That evening, while Adelaide slept with a mild fever, Archie received another text. Check your door. He opened it. An envelope. Inside, a photo. Adelaide's school. Taken today. Someone had been watching. Archie's hands shook with rage. He called Alexandra's number. They photographed my daughter. Come to my office. Now. Bring Adelaide. It's 11 at night. I don't care. If they're bold enough to surveil a school, they're bold enough to act. My building has security, yours doesn't. Archie looked at his sleeping daughter. Then he made the call no parent wants to make. He woke her gently. Hey, sweetheart, we need to go somewhere safe tonight. Adelaide, still foggy with fever, didn't question. She trusted him. That trust was everything. Alexandra's office occupied the entire top floor of Adelaide Corporation Tower. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. A space designed to intimidate. But when Archie arrived with Adelaide wrapped in a blanket, Alexandra had transformed it. A couch was made up with pillows and a comforter. Hot chocolate waited on a side table. Children's books were stacked nearby. I called my assistant, Alexandra explained. She has nieces. Adelaide perked up at the hot chocolate. While she drank and paged through a picture book, the adults talked in low voices across the room. My security team found the drone you destroyed, Alexandra said. Military grade. The kind that costs 6 figures. Whoever's funding this isn't playing. I know. There's more. We traced the mercenaries you stopped. They were hired through a shell company that connects to 15 other shell companies. But at the end of the trail, a name. Dermot Rispin. Archie's blood ran cold. Are you certain? You know him? I know of him. He's a fixer. The kind powerful people call when they need problems to disappear. If he's involved, this isn't about money or business. It's personal. Personal how? Archie hesitated. Then decided truth was the only option. 20 years ago, I was part of a counter-terrorism unit. We did extractions. Hostage rescue. The kind of missions that never made the news. One of those missions involved a senator's daughter who'd been taken by a criminal organization. Dermot Rispin was the middleman. We disrupted his operation and he lost a lot of money. He swore revenge against everyone involved. Alexandra's face went pale. What was the senator's name? Rhodes. Senator Malcolm Rhodes. The silence stretched. Alexandra sat down hard. You were the one who saved me. Archie nodded slowly. I didn't know it was you. I didn't know you were Malcolm Rhodes's daughter. You were just a scared kid who needed help. You carried me through the forest. You told me stories to keep me calm. You said, my father loved me very much, and I'd see him soon. I remember. Alexandra's eyes filled with tears she wouldn't let fall. I've been looking for you for 20 years. And you've been here, cleaning my building. I didn't know. How could you not know? Alexandra, I've extracted dozens of people. I never learned their names. It was safer that way. For them and for me. When I left the unit, I left everything behind, including the faces of the people I saved. She stood abruptly, walked to the window. Her reflection ghosted against the city lights. So Dermot Rispin is doing this because of me. Because my father refused to pay ransom 20 years ago, and your team came instead. Revenge delayed is revenge amplified, Archie said. He's had 2 decades to build resources and plan this. Then he's not just after me. He's after you too. And Adelaide. Archie looked at his daughter, who'd fallen asleep on the couch. I won't let him near her. We won't, Alexandra corrected. You saved me once. Let me help save her. The next 72 hours moved fast. Alexandra's security team swept the building, found 2 more surveillance devices, and identified 3 potential breach points. They discovered that Dermot had people inside Adelaide Corporation. A maintenance worker who'd been installed 6 months ago, and a mid-level executive who'd been turned through blackmail. But Alexandra and Archie had advantages Dermot didn't expect. Alexandra had resources. Archie had training. And together, they had something Dermot couldn't plan for. They cared about the same thing: keeping Adelaide safe. The attack came on the 4th night. Adelaide was sleeping in Alexandra's office, guarded by 2 security personnel. Archie and Alexandra were reviewing building schematics when the alarms went silent. Not triggered. Silenced. Someone had hacked their security system. They're here, Archie said. He grabbed a fire extinguisher. It was heavy, blunt, and available. Get Adelaide to the panic room. Now. Where are you going? To buy you time. Archie moved through the darkened corridors like a ghost. The emergency lights cast red shadows. He could hear them. Footsteps, trying to be quiet. Multiple teams. Well coordinated. He counted at least 8 hostiles. The smart play was to hide. To wait for police. But police took time. Adelaide didn't have time. He took down the first 2 in a supply closet. Quick. Quiet. He used their radios to listen to the others. They were searching floor by floor, looking for Alexandra. They didn't know about Archie. The 3rd and 4th went down in the stairwell. Archie used the narrow space to his advantage. They couldn't surround him, couldn't use their numbers. 1 at a time, they fell. But the 5th was smart. He didn't come through the door. He came through the window. Rappelling gear. He crashed through the glass of a conference room and nearly caught Archie off guard. They fought hard. Archie took a knife slash across his ribs. The mercenary took a chair to the skull. By the time Archie reached the top floor, his shirt was soaked with blood. Not all his. He was breathing hard. His knuckles were split. But Adelaide's room was ahead, and standing between him and that room were the last 3 mercenaries, and Dermot Rispin himself. Dermot was in his 50s, gray-haired, distinguished in the way villains in movies always were. He wore an expensive suit and held a pistol like he knew how to use it. Archie Lambert. Or should I say Ghost? That was your call sign, wasn't it? Dermot smiled. I've waited 20 years for this. Then you've wasted 20 years. Oh, I don't think so. I've built an empire while you've been pushing a mop. Who's really won? The man whose daughter is still breathing. Dermot's smile faded. Not for long. You cost me everything that night. My reputation. My connections. Millions in lost revenue. And for what? To save some politician's brat? To save a child. That's all she was. A child. And now she's the CEO who's about to die in a tragic building fire. Dermot gestured to his men. Kill him. Slowly, the three mercenaries advanced. Archie was tired. Injured. Outnumbered. But he'd been in worse situations. And he'd survived, because he knew something they didn't. How to fight when everything mattered. The first mercenary came high. Archie ducked, drove his shoulder into the man's gut, used his momentum to throw him into the second. They tangled. Went down. The third pulled a knife. Archie caught his wrist, twisted, heard the snap. The man screamed. Archie silenced him with an elbow to the temple. The first two were getting up. Archie grabbed a desk lamp. Swung it like a club. Glass. Shattered. One went down. The other lunged. Archie sidestepped, tripped him, and the man's head connected with a filing cabinet with a sound that made Dermot wince. Then it was just Dermot and his pistol. The older man's hand shook slightly. You should have stayed hidden. I tried. You found me anyway, because you were sloppy. Sentimental. A child made you weak. No, Archie said, stepping forward. A child made me strong. Dermot fired. Archie moved. The bullet grazed his shoulder. He kept coming. Dermot fired again. Missed. Then Archie was on him. The pistol clattered away. They went down hard. Dermot was trained. But Archie was desperate. And desperation beat training every time. It ended with Dermot unconscious, and Archie leaning against the wall, bleeding and exhausted. Behind him, a door opened. Adelaide stood there. Tears streaming down her face. Alexandra was right behind her. Daddy! Adelaide ran to him. Archie caught her with his good arm, held her close. It's okay, baby. It's over. It's all over. But Adelaide pulled back, looked at the blood. You're hurt. Just a little. Daddy's tough. You're very tough, Alexandra said quietly. She was crying too. Thank you. Archie looked at her over Adelaide's head. You'd have done the same for me. I don't know if I would have been brave enough. Bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing it anyway. Police arrived 12 minutes later. FBI 20 minutes after that. By sunrise, Dermot Rispin was in federal custody facing enough charges to ensure he'd never see freedom again. The mercenaries he'd hired were rounded up. The people he'd planted inside Adelaide Corporation were removed. And Archie Lambert sat in a hospital bed, getting stitches, with his daughter asleep in the chair beside him. The government came with offers. Return to service. Full reinstatement. Better pay. Archie listened politely and declined. My daughter needs a father, not a weapon. I'm done being a weapon. They accepted his answer and left. But Alexandra stayed. I have an offer too, she said. Head of security for Adelaide Corporation. Real salary. Benefits. An apartment in a building with actual working heat. And most importantly, hours that let you be there when your daughter needs you. I'm not qualified. You stopped a coordinated assault by 8 trained operatives. You're overqualified. And before you say no, think about Adelaide. She deserves better then a one-room apartment, and second-hand clothes. Archie looked at his sleeping daughter. I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's payment for services rendered. And, Alexandra paused. Maybe it's more than that. You saved my life twice. The least I can do is help improve yours. Why? Because 20 years ago, you showed me that good people exist, that someone would come when I needed them most. Let me be that person for Adelaide, please. Archie was quiet for a long time. Then, she'd need to stay in her current school, and I'd need weekends off. Alexandra smiled. Donne. 3 months later, on a Saturday morning, 3 people walked through the park near Alexandra's building. Archie, his shoulder fully healed, pushed Adelaide on the swings. Alexandra sat nearby on a bench, watching them with something that looked like peace on her face. She'd traded her red power dresses for jeans on weekends, let her hair down, literally and figuratively. Adelaide jumped off the swing mid-arc, landed perfectly, and ran to them. Did you see? I flew. You did, Archie said, catching her. Like a bird. Like the best bird. Adelaide took both their hands. Archie's on one side, Alexandra's on the other. Can we get ice cream? It's 10 in the morning, Alexandra said. Ice cream doesn't have a time, Adelaide argued with perfect 7-year-old logic. Alexandra looked at Archie. He shrugged. The kid makes a good point. They walked together toward the ice cream cart. Adelaide swung between them, chattering about a book she was reading, and a friend she'd made, and a butterfly she'd seen. Normal things, beautiful things. At one point, Adelaide looked up at her father. Daddy? Yeah, sweetheart. We're safe now, right? The bad men are gone? Archie squeezed her hand. We're safe. I promise. Good. Because I like it here. I like Alexandra. I like our new home. She paused. Do you think Mommy would like it too? Archie's throat tightened. He looked at Alexandra, who had tears in her eyes. Yeah, baby. I think she'd love it. She'd be proud of you. And you? And me. Adelaide seemed satisfied. She skipped ahead toward the ice cream cart, leaving the 2 adults walking behind. Thank you, Alexandra said softly, for letting me be part of this. Thank you for giving us a chance at something better. Is it better? Archie looked at his daughter, laughing in the sunshine, safe and happy and loved. Yeah, it's better. Alexandra slipped her hand into his. Not romantic, not yet, but promising. The beginning of something that might grow if given time and care. Archie let it happen. For the first time in 7 years, he let himself imagine a future that wasn't just survival. They reached the ice cream cart. Adelaide ordered strawberry. Alexandra ordered vanilla. Archie ordered chocolate. They sat on a park bench, 3 people who'd found each other in the darkness and decided to build something in the light. Daddy? Adelaide said through a mouthful of strawberry ice cream. You're the best daddy in the whole world. Archie kissed the top.